everybody, welcome to Metabook Journaling. My name is Anne. Welcome to my channel. Today I have a fun announcement to make. It is Friday, and this Friday I'm going to be doing the full deck challenge. So I have named it the Full Deck Friday. So every Friday, hopefully, you use one of these, one or two cards, to make something. So be on the lookout for that every single Friday. But this Friday is a special Friday because I will be working with the freebies from Luise Heizel and doing her giveaway tag challenge. So I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. Okay, so I have this piece right here. It is from a tag in her freebie. It's just a little leftover, so I decided to just glue that on the back of the card for some journaling space. I've added some of my aqua glue and then smoothed that out with glue stick just so it is, easy and flat. So that's a good tip for you if you don't like to get your fingers all gluey and stuff. I have chosen to use some of this sewing paper, which you see right now, just to kind of cover the card and give a background. By the way, in case you're wondering, this is heavily inspired by this amazing channel right here, so I will link that below in the description box for you. She also is doing the full deck challenge. That is where I learned of the full deck challenge, actually. And yes, I wanted to do something just like her. It didn't turn out that way, but at the start of the video you can probably see a lot of the things that I did just like her. So I've added this sewing paper on, and now I'm using this Tim Holtz stencil. If you're interested, it's linked below. Using some white acrylic paint and then my palette knife just to smooth that out on the card. She actually did this in her video as well, so don't worry, it'll change soon. And I'm adding some of that paint to the edges as well, just to, help it out a little bit. Drying it with my heat gun. And in case you're wondering, what I do if I will first of all dry it from the front and the back if I don't want it to warp and stuff, but also I will nearly dry it, and then when it's nearly dry, I will just bend it, as you will see in a moment. Right here, I'm bending it to the shape I want it to be in. And if what you saw before, I just dabbed it with paper towel. I have this little box here, which I have cut out all of the things from the freebie that Luise put in there, and they are in that box. And yeah, I'm just testing out other things as well. I'm testing out this lace as like a topper for the tag. And then I'm just looking for a focal point. So now I have some of my distress inks out. I chose Cracked Pistachio, Distress Ink, that mini one on the side, Forest Moss, and Peacock Feathers. And I also found these little watercolors, which I thought I might use. I'm just spraying them. Now I'm just taking this tan and then kind of adding watercolor there. And I like the look of that. I liked it a lot, actually. I'm just adding watercolor throughout the tag. I also do plan to add the Distress Inks and Oxides, in case you were wondering. Now I just have some of my Forest Moss, my favorite color. I added to an acrylic block right here. Spray it a little bit and then just use that little mini water brush from the watercolor set and use that to just paint it on just as if it were paint. So that's a cool technique. So I continue to add more color here because I was not satisfied. Kind of letting it drip down onto the acrylic block, but still I was not satisfied with that at all, so I just decided I wanted to use a different color. I spread that leftover Forest Moss onto a book page, cleaned my acrylic block, and then added some Cracked Pistachio, which you can hardly see because it is the ink. That's why I prefer oxides. They are very, very pigmented. And then a little bit of that Peacock Feathers. I just took my little water brush and then used that to paint it on. I was liking it more. It was going better, but I still, yeah, wanted more color. I'm using some of that cracked pistachio. I like that color. You can hardly see it though because, yeah, the acrylic block is quite see-through. And now I just continue to add color. And after a while, I just take some of this watercolor paints up there, if you can see that, and use those because that is just pre-mixed already. Somebody has already used those. These are secondhand, but they're still in great condition, I think. And now I'm just, yeah, adding color here because I was not satisfied at all. So as you can see, I am back to the forest moss. I was really not happy with how that color was turning out. I wanted it more of a green and then the blue and anyway, just painting over that. And then I just dry that with my heat gun and bend it back into shape. And actually, I wasn't loving the background at that time, but looking back, especially with the butterflies on it, I actually like it and almost wish I had left it, but that's okay. That's okay. So, yeah, I didn't end up keeping it like this, which is okay. It's done, and I also do like the finished result. So I'm just testing out that lace tab there, and then I decide, you know what, we should do some stamping on here. Kind of a bit of a mistake, I have to say. So I dry it a little more with my heat gun, then I take my archival ink ground espresso and this label stamp, and then I just ink that stamp up, and then on that book page that I smeared the forest moss on, I'm just stamping there. Yeah. that wasn't stunning looking, was it? And then I'm taking this stamp, which I got from Hobby Lobby. I was showing you the numbers there, which I especially wanted, and that order sign. So I just stamped it all around willy-nilly. Yeah. And I'm just continuing to stamp it, and then I feel like I'm done. But then I really hate the background. And yeah, I hated it so much. So I decided I would just take my forest moss spray, which I had just used the refiller and put it in a spray bottle with some water and just spray it. So yeah, I did that on this little Shutterfly container so that I would not get my surface covered in the spray because yeah, that happens all the time. And then I just dried that with my heat gun. Then I didn't like it, so I took the this metallic gold paint and tried to just cover it up slightly. It's just because I liked it, but I didn't like it. Yeah, and I think you can see that here. The acrylic paint just kind of bubbles up, which I thought was cool, so I left it. But also it's kind of annoying when you're crafting, so I did end up just dabbing it with a paper towel so that I could get all of that bubbles off. And then, yeah, still didn't like it, so I took this book page so I could just cover it up slightly and add more dimension and layering and just something else. So I'm gluing that down with my Aqua Tombow glue. But of course, yeah, that was not good enough. So I ended up taking my white acrylic paint and my palette knife, and then I just smeared that around, kind of just covering up my background. As you can see, this was a very trial and error crafting, so I encourage you, don't give up. Trial and error. And now I finally liked the background, and I was quite happy with it. So now it was for the toppers. So I was just testing out different things. I found this golden eyelash trim, which I thought, hey, that looks pretty cool. So yeah, that's an option. And now I'm taking this partially dyed gauze, and I think that looks really cool underneath the butterflies. So I just stuck that down. And then I actually did like it now, so I think that's the last we'll do with the background, and I think it looks pretty cool. You can really only see the first background that I did from the edges, which is fine with me. I'm good. Yeah, now I'm just testing out toppers, and I decided almost spontaneously just to punch a hole with the tiny hole of my crocodile, and of course I punched it off center. It seems I can never really punch center, so that was okay. Eventually, when you just can't punch center, you just live with it. And then yeah, I was just kind of testing it out, and it was just hairy everywhere. I know that's what eyelash trim is, but I was not completely happy with that. Ugh, and it was all over my desk too. I put it there. Yeah, not completely happy with it, but I was happy with my butterflies, so I decided to glue them down. Not the entire thing, just leaving the wings up so they could be free. But I still was not happy with the eyelash trim, so it had to go. And I already had that hole, so I thought, well, let's just ink up so that we can stall. Inking is stalling. So I took this rumpled seam binding. I rumpled it myself, and I just, after trying many different ways to tie it on, which I just cut out of this video because it is so tedious to watch, how many different times I tried it in different ways, and oh, so many different ways, I guess, to try and tie it. But finally, when I was satisfied with the tying, although that took a while because I was, not happy at all. Here I am finally satisfied with it, and yeah, I was trying to find a sentiment because I thought maybe, but yeah, that didn't really work. So yeah, that's the finished tag. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you next Friday so we can tackle another card. This is my entry for the Luise Heizel giveaway. Bye guys!